Just a bit. Oh, I'll do my best. I want to try and, from a factual standpoint, the 2000 Regional Development Corporation has been formed in order to close on the transaction to buy Lockheed's interest in what's known as the Ridge Hill site. We came before City Council. We got approved the $3 million loan at the time and released Lockheed on that 108 loan. Lockheed was $15 million. That was paid for with Lockheed took back paper when you buy somebody's house and they take back paper, $9.6 million. The balance of the purchase price was made up of Ridge Hill assuming that UDAG obligation, which had been in place back to the L'Oreal days, which is a repayment obligation of the city, and Ridge Hill borrowing about $3 million from the HUD 108 loan committee. The loan committee approved that. The full City Council approved that because that's one of your parameters if you're over $1 million. So that's how we start. That $15 million purchase price.
You said $3 million, is that twice the month? Was it $3 million loan plus $3 million one-way?
The one-way was about $3 million and the UDAG was about $3 million. $15 million purchase price. Then approximately 2 years later, September 11th, we went through it. Remember the business relocation center, we're efforts to try and find the right tenants for it. There was an RFP process that went out. Two companies responded. The two companies were Mills Corporation and Forest City. There was a rather competitive process that lasted a couple of weeks. And at the end, Ridge Hill was determined, or Ridge Hill board determined to proceed with the Forest City offer. The Forest City offer contemplated making a base rent payment through a period that was envisioned to be sufficient to get them through the approval process. And then after that point, after construction, they would begin to pay a rent that had been negotiated through the RFP process by each party bidding, Mills versus Forest City. In 2000, under the original lease from the state of New York that Lockheed had that was sold and acquired by Ridge Hill, the state had an obligation to negotiate the sale of its interest, their remaining interest. And in 2002, an agreement was entered into by Ridge Hill to buy the state out.
By the Ridge Hill Development Corp or by Forest City?
Ridge Hill Development.
They bought the state out.
Well, they entered into an agreement to buy them out.
The land release.
The state's remaining interest in the property that didn't give up in 1979 when they signed the lease with the land.
That would be the land.
The lease. And that had been negotiated in between Ridge Hill and Forest City. Forest City would provide the resources for Ridge Hill to do that if we opted to do that. In 2004, the election was made to proceed to buy the state interest out. Forest City was obligated to fund that. The Public Authority Control Board, despite